Morning peeps, good morning everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, like, share, subscribe. And we are back, obviously. I got back from Dubai yesterday. I was there for a few days to celebrate my birthday. It was my birthday Tuesday, just gone. We're 44 now, people. How? Only feels like yesterday when I was in my 30s, and now I'm in my 40s. Time really does fly. I'm not one to really celebrate my birthday. Normally, I would just go gym, go to work. You wouldn't even know it was my birthday. But I thought, you know, this year, it's been a good year. Let's celebrate it. So yeah, a few days in Dubai where I drank a lot, ate a lot. And here we are now, back home, ready to kick on with what's going to be a very busy couple of months. Thank you to everyone that sent me messages on Instagram, that knew about my birthday, sent me happy birthday messages. And for those of you that don't know, it's still not too late to say happy belated in the comment section. But yeah, I actually took my camera to film with me. But I thought, you know what, let's just press pause. All this boxing news can wait. So here we are. This might be a long video just because we are playing catch up. It's only one place to start, right? And that's the sad news of the passing of the great George Foreman. And I mean that, the great George Foreman. One of the greatest heavyweights of all time. One of the hardest hitting, if not the hardest hitting heavyweight of all time. Still holds the record for the oldest heavyweight champion. And aside from all that, aside from all the boxing accolades, I've been lucky enough to have met him twice. And I sat down with him once, only for a brief time. And he is, without a doubt, the most humble champion I think I've ever met. Like, I've never met someone that has downplayed his achievements like George Foreman. You know, George Foreman, in the lead up to that Muhammad Ali fight, I think he was 40-0 with something like 36 knockouts, something like that, something ridiculous. And I've said this to this day, and look, who knows, right? But I said, if he beat Muhammad Ali that night, George Foreman would have gone on to reign for another decade and would have been the greatest heavyweight of all time. That's how, I guess that's how good Muhammad Ali was, but it's also a recognition of how good George Foreman was as well. In an era which was probably the best for heavyweights. In fact, not probably, definitely the best for heavyweights. I mean, forget the big three of Fraser, Muhammad Ali and Foreman. You're talking like the likes of Cleveland Williams, Ron Lyles, Ken Norton, like frightening. Ernie Shavers, frightening that era. And he was one of the best. And there's obviously two runs, right? There is that run, or George Foreman. Then there's the George Foreman that had a long time away from the sport, came back, and then obviously had those fights against Evander Holyfield and against Michael Moorer, and in doing so, beating Michael Moorer, becoming the oldest heavyweight champion. It's funny, as a kid, watching George back then, considering that I am now nearly the same age as George when he became heavyweight champion, he looked so much older. Like, I remember thinking this, watching it back, I remember thinking, again, as a kid watching it, like, George must be 60, but he wasn't. He was just a young man. Still had so much life in him. He achieved so much outside the ring as well. Everyone had a Foreman grill, right? I mean, I had one. He became a minister. But again, the nicest thing to say about him is how nice he was. Like, you go and watch all the interviews and it's the biggest smile in the world, always downplaying his achievements. He was hurt tremendously by the Muhammad Ali defeat. I think that took a long time for him to overcome, just because of how loved Muhammad Ali was. And by default, because you love someone, you almost dislike the other person, which it shouldn't be, but it was Muhammad Ali, right? But yeah, very sad news about George Foreman. Very sad news as well about Colin Hart. Again, growing up, every time I read an article about boxing, whether it be on the front page, because boxing was on the front page for a while, at all the back pages, it was always written by Colin Hart. Like, me and Gareth A. Davis were talking about him as well, and he was like Gareth's mentor. And Gareth always used to speak about learning from Colin Hart. But yeah, what a sad couple of days for the world of boxing. Two legendary pioneers in their own right, passing away back to back like that. So look, condolences to his friend and family members. This is for both, and always in our prayers. All right, where should we start? Let's start very briefly, because I do want to get to current news, with the weekend's boxing, which feels like a very long time ago, right? George Kambosos getting a W. George Kambosos not looking good at all. Not looking good at all. You know, I was speaking to someone about George, and I think this statement I'm going to say is wrong, but I can understand why they say it. Like, George has kind of lived off that Teofimo Lopez win. And the reason I say it's wrong is because it isn't like he didn't beat Teofimo Lopez. You know, it's like, you know when people say Otto Vonen lives off the Tyson Fury fight, but he lost. George Kambosos beat Teofimo Lopez. I think George Kambosos maxed out in everything. Like, you think about the Devin Haney fights where he was beaten soundly in both, let's be honest. Vasily Lomachenko fight, beaten in that. I thought he lost the Maxi Hughes fight as well. Look, he didn't lose on the weekend, but it wasn't a great performance. And now they're talking about a Richardson-Hitchens fight. Hitchens would light him up. Light him up. He really would. There was some talk, and I saw this when I was like doom scrolling on Instagram. Floyd Mayweather offered a comeback fight opportunity against Kambosos. Obviously, I think that's dead in the water, but nah. Anyway, look, it's going to be Richardson-Hitchens. I mean, there's some talk about Jack Catchall. Nah, Richardson-Hitchens looks like he's going to get the opportunity. Or should I say Kambosos is getting the opportunity against Hitchens. Sky Nicholson lost, unbeaten record, gone, as well as a WBC belt. I thought Tiara Brown won that fight. I think the question with Sky over the years is, how is Sky going to look when someone really puts it on her, pressures her? And although Brown didn't really land anything significant, it was the kind of putting Sky on the back foot, which made Sky box in a way we don't really see from Sky. Like, Sky wasn't able to get into that rhythm. Once she's in that rhythm, it's quite difficult to beat. But Tiara was like, we're not letting you set your feet and get in that rhythm. We're going to rush you as much as we can. Some people I saw thought the judges' scorecards were maybe a bit unfair on Sky. Didn't give her points for what she was doing, but I thought Tiara won that fight. Strange, right? The Australian judge, the one who could have given it to Sky, gave it to Tiara. So you can't say you don't get a fair shake in Australia when the fucking Australian judge is the one that gives it to the American opponent. But look, there probably will be a rematch. But I think Sky's going to have to change a couple of things. Look, you don't change it whilst it's working, some may say, but she does need to add a few more things to her arsenal, because that was kind of the blueprint right there in order to beat her, and others might use that as well. Who knows, right? Sebastian Fundora. I think, and this is with Crawford out of the division now. Crawford's not going to fight at 154 again. Sebastian Fundora is clear number one in that division. Like, he's a fucking problem. I almost feel like that knockout defeat he suffered has completely woken him up, and it's created a monster. Honestly, it's created a monster. He's 6'5", and normally when you hear that, like, if you're training a fighter to fight a guy that's 6'5", you're gonna say things like get under his jab, get close, work inside. He's welcoming that. He's like, okay, come inside. This guy can work inside. Like, he's very different. Again, someone that rangy is normally like, they're trying to keep you on the end of their jab and throw those big right hands. He's like, no. If you want to come inside, we can play that game. Imagine that, a guy that's 6'5", clearly has dynamite in hands, but they can fight on the inside, fight on the outside, keep you at range. Good luck beating that guy. Honestly, good luck. I know Xander Zayas is mandated to fight him, but I don't think Xander's ready for that yet. Honestly, I don't think Xander's ready. I mean, I think I'd rather see the Virgil Ortiz fight. That's what I would want to see, because I'd almost put those guys as number 1 and 2 in the division. I know there's others, and some people might say, is it Bakram? And I get that, but I think most would have those number 1 and number 2. But some really good fights to be made at 154 pounds. All right, let's get to the news. Frank Warren, who's been doing the rounds with Eddie Hearn. Obviously, Frank Warren's got his first card coming up April 5th. I'm presenting that card. Looking forward to doing it. Never presented, obviously, a Queensbury card before. Frank Warren's been doing the rounds, and he said Daniel Dubois, Derek Chisora is next if no Oleksandr Usyk rematch. There will be an Oleksandr Usyk rematch. Mark my words, people. This isn't inside information, but come on. It's the biggest fight that can be made now. Again, we don't know what Fury and AJ are doing, so let's park those two for a second. Is it unfair on Joseph Parker? Some will say yes. Let's park that conversation for a second. This is number 1 versus number 2. This is a fight that I think can do a stadium. Wembley Stadium's been spoken about. If not Riyadh, I think it's a big fight over there as well, just because both of those guys have done really good work in Riyadh. But yeah, Undisputed. And that's one thing that was very interesting with what Frank said. Again, doing the rounds, I'm not quite sure who he spoke to. I think it might have been TalkSport. But he said Undisputed. which is significant. And it's significant because obviously it means Joseph Parker is going to be put to the side, because there was a lot of talk of Joseph Parker and the WBO enforcing that, to the point where I thought, okay, Usyk might have to vacate his belt and Joseph Parker fights someone for a world title. It doesn't seem so now. It looks like we're all systems go for Dubois versus Usyk, or Usyk versus Dubois II for everything. Again, you can't help but feel sorry for Joseph Parker in this equation. So not only do you not get a fight against either of those guys, which you would have wanted, which should have happened in Saudi, you don't even get the second wish, would have been a world title fight. You now will fight someone for an interim or a mandatory, all the usual things you've done before. It's unfortunate. It is unfortunate. But this is a fight I really want to see. I think this is a very, very different Daniel Dubois. Very different. He would have gone to Poland in his heart of hearts, not thinking he can beat Oleksandr Usyk. It's true. He would have. And all his team would have been like, okay, you know what, just do us proud, Daniel. Make us proud. He's gone there. He's done okay for a few rounds. Obviously, the controversial, was it low, wasn't it low? But since then, you guys know what the work he's done. He's done Jarrell Miller, he's done Hrgovic, he's done AJ. So this is a whole different Daniel Dubois that will approach this fight. This is a much more confident, dangerous Dubois, who I think a lot of the boxing public will give a good chance. Usyk is favourite, obviously, but Daniel Dubois has a very good chance. He had zero chance, I thought, in that first fight. Zero. I give him at least a 25% chance. At least. That's not bad. That's not bad considering, again, who he's fighting. My worry for Dubois is that Dubois run of, again, good rounds against Usyk, Hrgovic, Miller, AJ, or Miller, Hrgovic, AJ. That all happened in a span of 14 months, thereabouts. I think less than that, in fact. He was busy. The best Daniel Dubois came when Daniel Dubois was busy. If he were to fight Usyk in the summer, having fought AJ in September, he would have been out the ring for around 10 to 11 months. That's a bit of a problem, I think. Again, the best Dubois we've seen recently has been a busy Dubois. So we'll see how that one plays out. As for Derek Chisora and Daniel Dubois, I mean, Del Boy. He's just... should he be in that position? Probably not. Right? Let's be honest, probably not. But I mean, he has beaten Joe Joyce and Otto Vollen recently. Those, I mean, he has got wins on the resume. He hasn't been plucked from thin air having done nothing. This isn't a case of Wilder getting a shot. Do you know what I mean? Or someone like that. Some might even say AJ getting a shot. He's done some work of recent. So maybe he does deserve a bit more respect than we give him. But that ain't happening. I doubt that's going to happen. I think we're all systems go for Dillian Whyte versus Derek Chisora. But look, you never know. Chisora wants that fight. I know that, having spoken to him personally about it, he wants the Daniel Dubois fight. I don't know if he's going to get it. Again, I think we will see Daniel Dubois versus Usyk. I have no idea who Parker fights. Honestly, I haven't got a clue. I mean, I've said Cabiel. I don't think it'll be Cabiel. Could it be AJ? But why would AJ fight him if there's no belt on the line? There's no, do you know what I mean? There's nothing. Unless it's a belt or Fury, AJ ain't fighting. So, yeah, a bit strange. Jamal Charlo returning on May 31st PBC card. When did Jamal Charlo last fight? Can't remember. I wish that said Jamal Charlo, because I think Jamal can still do something 150 if he could make it. Probably not. Jamal is now 34. I expect, this is crazy because he's unbeaten and I feel like I'm going to be disrespectful, but I expected so much more from the Charlo brothers. I did. So much more. He last fought Jose Benavidez Jr. That was November 25th, 2023. Prior to that, he fought Montiel in 2021. Prior to that, he fought Derevyanchenko in 20. Prior to that, Dennis Hogan in 2019. I can't take it serious. I'm moving on. I'm moving on from this subject. Anything else? Matchroom Boxing, I think I spoke about this before, wins promotional rights for Galal Yafai versus Francisco Rodriguez. I think I saw the fee. The winning purse bid was $222,000 or something. So good money. Not bad, is it? Not bad money. Not to be sniffed at, that kind of money. Not to be sniffed at all. Virgil Ortiz did better against Israel Madrimov than Terence Crawford. What does it mean? So, styles make fights. You might have the style that works better. And also, Ortiz, and this isn't going to disrespect Ortiz because that statement could be true, but Ortiz had sparred Madrimov, I think, a couple of times, so he kind of knew what was coming. I don't think Crawford had ever sparred him, which does make it a bit easier, right? All right, I think. I mean, there are other loads of bits, but we're probably going to do a video tomorrow as well. 1 month away. We're 1 month out from Eubank versus Ben. Fingers crossed, no injuries. What I would like to see happen is the undercard get a bit of love. Can we talk about the undercard? What's going on here right now? I keep saying it. Vidal Riley, Chef Clark. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It's a fucking great fight. It's a great fight. That needs to get some love. I actually said to DAZN that I should do a face-off between those two because I'm telling you now, it will catch fire. It will catch fire. Such an important fight for Chef Clark. It's an important fight for Vidal as well, but Chef was ascending, obviously when that fight against Mosquera was ascending to European and then potentially world honours. He's now coming back and if you like, this is a British title fight. So it's so important, especially at his age. I think Chef's 34. It must win. It's a must win. All right, guys, girls, we are done.